We have 2 sign-up sheets.
And I'm one of the co-founders of World Beyond War, which is the global movement to try to end all wars. Not just here a war, tomorrow war, the next day, but all wars. And we have, for those of you that are already not on our list, we have a website that you can actually sign up here, saying essentially, war is senseless, and I will commit myself to helping the world abolish war. So we'll pass that around, and later we'll talk about on that website, worldbeyondwar.org. If you haven't looked at that, we have the $2 trillion question. What do we want to do with $2 trillion? Wars and preparations for wars, or building a good life for every person in the planet. Go ahead.
Have you 1 second? Just 1 second. One thing first.
This is too good to miss. However, if anyone has a couple of number 13 hearing aid batteries that I could buy from them, I would really appreciate it.
If you got that, we're looking for number 13 hearing aid batteries. Does anybody have them? Sorry. Maybe. Okay, here's another sign-up sheet. I really hate a lot of handout paperwork. It goes to hell. It gets thrown in trash cans. So I am going to try to give handouts electronically. If you can give us, this says your name and email. I want your phone number also, because so often there's a digit wrong somewhere or other, and one or the other we can get to. I'm also going to try to capture the stuff that which we developed today, photograph it, transcribe it, and send it out to you.
I appreciate that.
I said try. Okay. So let's start this. How many here are vets?
How about a peace vet?
That's a lot of peace vets. So I got a question for you. How many of you want to abolish war?
Yeah. Yes.
Right now. Yes. And by that I don't mean some wars. I mean abolish war.
Yeah. Thank you.
How many of you, in this pursuit of abolishing war, how many of you believe that just plain talking to other people about the abolition of war is a critical tool for abolishing war?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
You know, I've come to believe that that's the power we have. And we have changed the basis of public opinion. Next step becomes, how many of you want to strengthen your skills and confidence in talking about abolition of war?
That's a good one. That's totally
Cool. That's where we're at. I've got a quick agenda here. We're doing opening, we're working through. I have a section here on facts, arguments, and responses, and this is sort of the information about abolition of war, about the problems of war. Then we have a section on discussion and dialogue, which is a process of talking about abolition of war. And then we have a quick section on opening discussion. And before we are done, we have a great opportunity because David was just recently in Russia on a peace mission. And that's another part of this process of abolition of war, and he will give you a report from Russia. So I want to start with a brainstorm. Y'all know what I mean by that? Popcorn brainstorm, just throw out ideas. We'll try to record them. We need to make a circle bigger, I think.
Anybody familiar with how to get from the lift to here for a wheelchair?
Sorry.
So let's just, can I have a scribe, somebody write on the board for me?
Sure.
Great. I can write on the board, but nobody on video will read it. A minor complication.
Oh, that people can read. That was another.
Oh, yeah. I may have to have some.
Yes, I will.
Thank you.
So, at what level do we describe? Like just like one word or something?
Well, so here's what I'm going to ask you. What are the arguments or one-liners or myths that you hear supporting war? You're out in a conversation on the street and people say things to you.
You have to find that. It's necessary to fight.
It's necessary to fight.
Human nature.
It war is human nature?
That's what they say.
What did you do about Hitler?
What would you do about Hitler?
taxes.
Okay, I'm gonna help you here. Where are we now? Okay, next one.
There always have been wars, there always will be.
Okay, I've gone
I've
through
got
all.
to attack this.
Okay. Next one.
You need the oil.
I got it.
These two strength.
Wars are important for national security.
Okay, that's.
I got that.
Okay,
2 words, Elliott. Just put down 2 words.
Our economy depends on military industry. We can't have any economy without military industry.
Here's a couple seats over here.
could you please go over there and sit? We appreciate it.
There's,
Okay, I
I'm
got
gonna
one.
sign in
I got one of those.
for this workshop,
Yes,
okay?
it's going on now.
All right.
What else?
Well, they're bad, we're good.
You got that one?
Creates jobs. Creates jobs.
Great job.
I got it.
Does.
As long as you live. You get a life fast job out of it, right?
I mean, this.
We have 3 seats over there. You take them. What else? Anything else?
It's a dangerous world.
It's a dangerous world. Okay, great. We got to start on this. Yes.
We need to defend these helpless countries.
Defend the one we're going to eliminate. Defend helpless countries.
Oh, defend.
Help us eliminate ISIS.
Help eliminate ISIS.
Spread democracy.
We definitely have to spread democracy.
Spread democracy.
All over the universe.
I don't know if that would be fine.
That works.
I'm not sure that.
Now, what I want you to do,
Big one.
Richard, until we go to jail, shut up. I want to break into small groups of like 4 people, okay? I want you to start here, so start counting.
1, 2,
4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1,
2,
3,
4.
1, 2,
3, 4,
2.
3.
You know something?
I did it wrong.
I don't want to do it.
2s,
What's the group? 3s or group 4?
No, what I'd rather have you do is have the first 4 form up here, be much faster. The next 4 form up here, the next 4 form up here, and have you do it that way, because it'll be much faster, it'll be less moving and confusion. Can we do that back here, figure out how to split up in groups of 4, and get so you face each other and can talk. So what I would suggest you do is move some chairs. You can hear my voice, clap once.
So what are we supposed to
If you
do?
can hear my voice, clap twice. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. Thank you. Now, here's what I'm going to ask you to do in those small groups. I want you to talk amongst yourselves about what responses we can give to those pro-war arguments. What responses we can give to the pro-war arguments. Is that clear? Any questions? Nate, you look confused. No, I'm not. Okay, go ahead and start thinking about that. You've only got a few minutes to do it. Oh, can I, if at all possible, can I get each group to have a scribe? I didn't bring paper, but can I just write down the arguments if you have them? Because the question is whether all right, let's start this over again. I did not bring a paper, so therefore I can't provide it for you, but I would like to have each one of the group write down all the arguments. And the reason I want you to do that, all the arguments you come up with, the reason I want you to do that is because then I will capture all those, you'll give them to me, and I will disperse them to all of you.
Anybody need some paper?
Does anybody need some paper? Okay, go ahead, start talking.
It's a dangerous world out there, and someone else is trying to do it.
But you don't need
Start harvesting this. Can a group start giving us some of the arguments that they've come up with? Can you offer us an argument? Yes. One argument per group. Stand up. Excuse me, but I mean, maybe you don't want to hear, but she's going to give us this group's one of their arguments. Go for it.
One of our arguments was, you know, if we don't use, like, violence is more effective, and we countered it with, actually, it's shown that nonviolence is 2 times more effective than violence.
Nonviolence is 2 times more effective than violence. Yes, do you have an argument?
We took a look at war is inevitable, and one argument, counter argument, is that love conquers war, and secondly, that war is always a matter of choices, of human choice. And there are many instances of where war was not the option that was exercised, and there was no war.
So war is
choose.
We can choose.
It's not inevitable.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you?
Essentially, that there's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and that war is no longer enough.
Yeah.
And 2, there are different economic paradigms that are not constructed on our sheet.
Cool.
Lastly, we have a lot of.
I want to question, and we're going to say those, and we're going to send them out to everybody. If you can write them down, we're going to send them out to everybody. Yes.
I didn't get that last one though.
It's already gone. I'm in the AARP group.
I'm right there with you.
What was the question? Yes.
There are economic paradigms built on peace, not just.
Well, we choose to counter examples, for example, where it was not human nature, where it was human nature, with the fact that it was also human nature to seek peace, and give example of nations like Japan, who eliminated a standing army. Also the Hitler example, we said, well, what about Gandhi? I mean, you know, you have to counter with a positive example, not just trying to seek an end to the negative example.
Right. It's true. Good point.
Responses to the argument that war is inevitable. One is that things can and do change. For example, slavery, smoking. You know, things are changing all around us. Change is possible. The second argument is that conflict may be inevitable because you have competing interests, but there are many ways to address conflict resolution short of war. War is what you use when everything else fails.
No.
I mean, it shouldn't.
No.
It shouldn't.
One creates a solution to it.
But
Okay. Thank you. If you can write these down better, so when I get them, I can get them from you. Yes.
I'm running out of chalk.
Yes.
We've got war is expensive, and to try and give them the examples of how much money is going into social services, and then what's going to the military complex. Also, James said one, but I didn't add it.
Oh, just
Can you add it? What is it?
Unintended consequences are worse than what the problem was to begin with, if you're trying to solve.
We're not talking about ISIS. Oh, no. Yes.
I don't know, war just begets more war. That's what the history shows.
War just leads to more war, yes. This group.
Most of them have been already said, I think. Just sort of a narrative response of like, have we ever stopped a Hitler without a war? Like, what is the history of our other attempts to stop a big global bully?
So there was just lots of other alternatives. Okay, write them down. We write it down and get it to me, all the other ideas you develop, and I will transcribe them and get them out to
And
everybody.
you're gonna give us your email address and we'll do that.
Is that?
You're gonna give us your email
I
address.
can do that. Okay, great. Now, we're pushing along fairly fast here. One of the things really important about, I don't know quite how to start this, Dave. It is so let me ask you this. When somebody comes up to you and starts telling you what the answer is, does your mind change?
No.
No. Don't we all agree with that?
Well, if the truth is spoken, my mind will change.
You're different than me. If somebody tells me, I don't change my mind. In fact, research shows people tend to harden their position when they are confronted with conflicting information than what they believe. The important part of this is that listening, and I'm only going to cover this quickly. I would like to do a section on active listening as opposed to passive listening, but listening is absolutely critical for winning conversations, or for, we are going to try, and Dave's helping me with this, we're trying not to frame these in the question of arguments or winning, but in the forms of discussions and dialogues, because the fact of the matter is that they are more effective.
You know what?
More effective. Thank you for the clarification.
So if a Jehovah's Witness knocks on your door and says, I have the truth, you just listen to me,
slam,
we close the door. So it's important to try to listen. What are people's concerns and what are their heartfelt feelings to be able to try to respond to that rather than just mouth off our truth.
Yes.
I used to think about how I would listen to people and agree with them until they finally agreed with me.
Well, that's nice. Listen to them and agree with them until they finally agree with you. So what we want to do is practice this. Yes.
Change takes time.
Change does take time.
Shifting your position.
Expressing in another way. Nobody goes from 0 to 60 in 30 seconds flat. If you can help them move a little bit, good. Something quick there.
It took 167 years to get religious freedom from the Mayflower. My ancestor was on it. And then we have the abolitionist movement. I'm not sure when and where it started, but the Civil War of Dr. Martin Luther King, and we're still working on, racial problems.
Okay.
And women, it took 72 years from 1848 to 1920.
Right. Takes time. Okay. Do you want to practice? How many people want to practice listening and talking about topics? We're trying to cover some of these things quickly. So here's a scenario. You're out in front of a post office and you meet a person you know from Rotary. You both are just small town citizens, right? Okay, line A and line A. You're line A, you're line A. This is okay. Line A, you are not really pro-war, but you accept that war makes us more secure. Your grandfather was in World War II, and somehow you know that he saved us from the Nazis. When you start to talk, you're going to open the discussion by saying, did you hear the news? Another terrorist attack in Philadelphia. You know we're better off fighting them over there than over here.
You're line A.
You're line A, and you're line A, okay? Yep, you're line A. Line B, you're going to basically be yourself, as you are now, and react to this person's position, and see what you can do in terms of going towards peace.
Respond to their concern
Respond.
in a way that you try to get out another truth.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what David said?
Yep.
David said, respond to their concerns as a way to get out another truth. Thank you, David. Well put. Okay, you ready? I will tell you to break when we're No, I'm not keep. I'll give you another one. So this scenario is you're at a coffee shop and the news is talking about the war in Syria, and you both of you have sort of arrived at your coffee table about to sit down. Okay. Now this time line A is going to be basically yourself. You're going to be listening and responding. Okay. So we're switching roles. This time line B.
Wait a minute.
So line A?
Line A is responding.
Line A is yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Line A is going to be yourself, receiving and responding.
Okay.
Line B, which is going to be these two. Your brother's been a career military person. He did a couple of tours in Iraq. Your father was in World War II, and as you sit down, you say to line A, the dangerous world out there, and we need to protect our interests in the Middle East. Okay, go for it. There.
The entire world. And you get more and more local regions who attack the United States, when they get these rogue attacks and their job. So don't you see that things in fact get worse? You didn't have this it's when the U.S. started attacking, when they first attacked them, and they went out. And then the second time they attacked, and all these things are really, you see that a lot of these things are building up. Hatred, violence, we're not stopping.
So let's get responses from it this time. Line A, let's hear responses from line A. How'd that go? Yes.
Well, my guy, he complained about it.
Notice he's calling his partner my guy.
Yeah, well, he does. It's true. He turned out to be my guy. Because he was complaining. He said we ought to do something about it because there's some violence over there in the Middle East. And my God, I don't know what happened, but he turned out to be more peaceful than me. So he didn't play his act very well.
I don't know. He convinced me with his questions.
No,
so his questions convinced you?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he said, well, what would you do about this? And do you think it's working? And, how can you argue that it's working? I mean, it ain't working.
So those are not like gotcha questions, are they?
No.
Those are kind of...
like, let's dialogue here. Let's
thought-provoking, dialogue-provoking, and yes, and you. Yes.
Well, to me, I tried to listen carefully, and I kept saying, I hear you, I understand your concerns, I share those concerns. But I did focus on alternatives to what we've been doing because it hasn't worked out.
So I hear one of the things you do is sort of try to find common ground and connect. So you're trying to create a personal connection. Is that sort of what happened? Do you feel that?
Yes. And he was very, very good at listening and then taking my words and my examples and then giving more peaceful, kind of like envisioning.
So he was answering specific concerns that you were feeling?
Yes.
Okay, other comments, yes.
Will tells me that I alienated him in about 3 minutes flat. He was talking about, I asked him a question about how do you think we can prevent another terrorist attack? And he's followed up on what he was saying from that point on. And we got into domestic surveillance. And Will kept insisting it's not happening. And I said, yeah, it's happening.
So we went from trying to get into dialogue, we went into confrontation, and as soon as he did that, I said, fuck you. That's what happens.
Did anybody ever had that experience when you see a conversation turn into straight confrontation and you like,
Absolutely.
Yes. And frequently, you know from research, frequently people harden their position when you're throwing information at them to show you that they're wrong. Yes?
Yeah, I play the devil's advocate, literally, in saying that the
Can I
United
say the devil
States,
doesn't mean that?
saying that the United States has to be, as a dominant world power, has to assert itself, has to use this force as a model to other countries to back off and listen to us and respect us and so forth. And what I found as a good reputation was that his argument that we could also be strong in the world by diverting that sum of money on defense for other purposes. In other words, it doesn't have to be strength or weakness. We could be a more moral force using that same amount of money. And I found that a reasonable argument.
And it sounds like you also turned into a positive argument. We have something we can do with this money.
And he's saying we could still be strong, but we don't have to be strong in a purely military kind of expenditure route.
Yes.
Not so much with this, but I usually am around people that are basically apathetic, you know. So, but at work and roommates and stuff like that, and I'm always like a walking billboard. I've always got T-shirts on, political, this and that, and bumper stickers in my car, and I'm always talking, you know, something so that they all look at me and they see me as a political person that knows what I'm talking about, and I catch them, even though they don't say it to me, but once in a while I catch people talking some of the points I've been making to somebody else. But like, so I know I'm having some effect, but it's kind of just that they know I'm political, so anything happens in the world, I think they think about me and what am I going to say about it. Yes.
Of course, I was trying to defend our actions. Well, the United States' action in Syria. And so everything he said, I would just ignore. And come at it at a different point. And his points were good. But if I'm some of the people that I know, I'm going to be talking to that wall. And that's why I took him. Everything he said, I just found another way to go around it. And so he could bring up any topic he wanted. And there's always a counteraction to it.
Good discussion back there.
How did that work for you?
That was pretty good. I listened, but then I took a hard approach to everything that he was trying to convince me to say. But Richard came right back and said, okay, well, he took the back corner and said, well, I'm going to present this idea in different fashion. And I was going, okay, that's good. So yes. And he started softening me in my stance, which is really good.
Okay, so I just want to ask a question. Are we going to be able to disagree? No.
No way.
So there are some, let me put it this way. Do you think that there's anybody on the face of this earth or elsewhere who would convince me that war was good?
Convince you war was.
Convince me.
I don't think so.
No way.
I don't think so.
We went to war once, dude.
I think that would be,
Do it again.
anybody who wants to waste their time doing it is wasting their time.
Well, I think someone will come up, with the argument again, if your homeland is attacked, your country is attacked, are you gonna let that happen?
I don't think I have to use war to stop it.
Pardon?
I don't need war to stop it. I can stop it anyway.
Well, you can walk away.
No, okay, so I don't want to get into that whole discussion, great discussion, but you might look up Gene Sharp's book called a civilian
basic defense.
a post-military civilian defense system. So there are answers to that, and we aren't answering all the questions, there's great resources, and actually people have resources given to me, and all of a sudden everybody else out also. That's the point I was trying to make.
Sure.
So you're welcome. Go ahead.
Sally did such a good job, she convinced me that she's right.
You are not the only person who can be convinced by Sally.
All right, I think it's important for us, let's face it, we are in the business of changing people's minds. But I think unless you are acutely aware of the amount of fear and even as you mentioned, the grief that we encounter, unless we're acutely aware of that and sensitive to that, we won't get anywhere. So all of us who've handed out literature or talked with people, all of a sudden it sometimes stuns us to see the fear that people have in their eyes. They're afraid of what they might put in the handouts we have or what we might say. So, and unless you're sensitive to that and can respond to that in a sensitive way, I don't think you'll get anywhere.
It's fear and hatred. When I visit a lot, we get a lot of.
Well, that's one fear leads to hate.
They're closely related, yes.
I would suspect that part of the fear is exclusion from your tribe. That you can't change your mind and still belong to the tribe you're part of. And so part of the fear is inclusion in your tribe, rather than fear of the enemy coming and killing you. It's like you can't move if you're going to be shamed publicly for having taken a different position.
And I think that all of us vets can identify with that, how that was driving us.
Peer pressures.
Okay. Let me ask, let's see. We're running, okay. So I'm going to put you back in your groups of 4, and I'm going to ask you to, in your small groups of 4, where you're sitting down talking, I want you to work with, think about opportunities we can make to open conversations about abolition of war. Opportunities, chances, places where we can grab an opportunity and open up discussion about war. Go back to your groups, please, if you can, write down all the observations you have so I can get those and we can type them up and get them out there.
And we're putting that out on the air. And we do that where they have access and also the future in the chat. So it's passive, but it's putting that information out there for people to see. We also tape with the farmers market, some of the other events, just when their crowds gather. Partner with other organizations. I think that's one. There are only about 5 or 6 other people active by ourselves. We got to do identify other groups and work with them for their ideas.
Not this bag, but I have another bag at home that is covered in buttons. And it's like Michael was saying that you'd be surprised when you're just wearing it out in public, on the plane, on the car, just having the bag, it sparks people want to come up to you, people want to ask questions. Things they probably don't think about or no one else is thinking about. And yeah, just being that kind of
On the World Beyond War website, we have a 10-minute video on how would you spend $2 trillion? And then it shows how we can spend that on wars and preparation for wars, and what we could do alternatively in terms of education, healthcare, housing, decent life for every person on the planet. And to really help people think we do have a choice, and show that at churches and synagogues, schools, universities, women's groups, bridge clubs, etc. And just follow it up with a conversation. Get people's thoughts about how we can best spend this money and what might be a better way of trying to get security.
I think along with that is addressing that fear. They're coming to get, they're coming to kill us. So how is it, what are the things that we can do to stop that? I said earlier, diplomatic efforts, nations, also looking at why do these people, why do we think these people hate us? What is it, one thing Americans have a tough time doing, thinking that they can do anything that causes people to hate us. I'm trying to get around that. That's what I find it difficult to get.
Yeah, you're always blaming America.
Right.